Hello everyone, welcome to a World of Warships Blitz video. Today's video is a new ship video. This new ship is the Tier 8 French premium cruiser, the Bayard. I'm hoping that's how you pronounce it. So the Bayard is essentially, if you want the really short version of it, it is essentially the Cleveland version of the Charles Marten, just like the Mainz is the Cleveland version of the Admiral Hipper. Probably the fastest way to describe it, all my impressions of it anyway. So it is essentially a Charles Marten, slightly more modern looking fuselage of course, or hull, with these turrets with 6-inch guns. It's got, instead of 3 turrets, it's got 4 turrets, 12 guns instead of 6, and they're 6-inch guns instead of 8. And so what we'll do is we'll do a comparison between this and hopefully the perfect, because I don't think I've fully upgraded my Charles Marten, or yes I have. Okay, so we shall do a comparison against the fully upgraded Charles Marten, because that is probably the most honest thing to do. I think they have pretty much the same setup. No, they don't. What's happened here? Okay, then that's a bit weird. That would explain some performance issues when I was playing the game. Okay then, so now the Charles Marten and the Bayard should be relatively similarly set up. There's a bit of an acceleration difference and a fire chance difference, but we won't get into that. We will assign new and we'll disembark him so that we don't have any issues with the captain skills. Assign new, disembark. Right, there we go, he's gone. Not interested in that. Right, okay then, so now we're going to do a comparison with the Bayard versus the Charles Marten. So we'll start with hit points. So 28,320. And nice and easy citadel protection, fire flooding resistance at 10% each. 7.5% damage reduction, pretty lightweight armour, but that's French. 9% torpedo damage reduction. So 28,300 versus 31,600. So the Charles Marten's a little bit tougher, but the protection values are the same, except it's got a slightly better torpedo damage reduction, 1.5% better. Otherwise, very similar. Speed, 33 knots, 10 seconds to full speed. It does have engine accelerator, so that's probably a 20% lift on that, so it could be 12 seconds or 13. We might expect from the Charles Marten. Traverse speed, nearly 8 degrees per second, with a turn time of 8 seconds. So, I mean, it's not that agile. The Charles Marten has a slightly slower top speed of 32 knots. It has the 12 seconds to full speed, nearly 13, which is probably the same with the engine accelerator. Maximum traverse speed is slightly lower at 7.49, so basically half a degree slower, but it's maybe a second faster to get that rudder shift across. So I'd have to say the Bayard would be the slightly more agile, because that rudder shift difference is not as great as the, oh no, maximum traverse speed 7.59. I'm going to select seconds, 0.1 degrees second faster. So essentially it's going to have the same maneuverability. Guns. This is where I expect it to be different. We won't be disappointed. It has 12 guns. They have a reload time of 7.57 seconds and an 11.83 kilometre range. So here they have a 12.24 kilometre range, which is 0.4 of a kilometre further. Not great in the grand scheme of things, but still good enough. 10 second rather than a 7, rather than a sub 8 seconds. So 7.6 versus 10.6. So 3 seconds slower on the reload. They are 203 millimeters. There's 9 of them, rather than 152 millimeters and 12 of them. Obviously the main battery damage on the Charles Marten, which we're looking at here, it's 661, is going to be a higher, harder hitting caliber. Chance of setting fire 8%, which is pretty good, and it's 8.73 AP damage with nearly a 10-degree turret traverse. So obviously lighter guns expect a higher turret traverse. You're not disappointed with 16 degrees per second, which is pretty quick. Lower damage, so 496, so nearly 500 damage versus 660, so a bit shaved off. 7% fire chance rather than 8% fire chance, but you are throwing more shells at the enemy, so that's probably on a par. And obviously versus 800 plus damage with the AP, 600 damage is a lot lower, but then again, you are firing more shells more often. Torpedoes, I wouldn't be entirely surprised if these torpedoes are the same. I haven't checked first, but 40 seconds, 3.6 K damage essentially, 8.42 kilometre range at 62 knots. And that's exactly the same as the Charles Marten. AA, large calibre 127, small calibre AA 217. And 3.6 and 2.4 kilometre range. So it actually, the Bayard has the better AA. For the Charles Marten, it has 106 versus 127, same range, but the 1.8 is shorter range than the 2.4, and the 217 drops to nearly half. As for the concealment, 8.6 kilometre concealment versus 8.29. The concealment is slightly worse, but it is a French cruiser, so it's not really stealthy. Let's have a look, see what we get. For the elite gun, we've got the elite gun operator or main battery turret traverse speed. That turret traverse at 16 degrees per second is pretty good, so I went for the reload time. There's a safe reload time. For the equipment, I put on pretty standard tier 8 stuff. The dispersion modification to try and get more of those shells on target, especially against larger targets. Try and get some of those fires lit. Battle honours, it does come with battle honours, but being a premium, basically after 2 enemy ships in a battle, you get some force steel, which is pretty good going. And I think that is basically this ship. I have played a couple of battles in it, and it really does feel a little bit like de Grasse. So let's go have a quick check and see how the guns on this ship, let's just go cruisers, the guns on that ship compare with de Grasse, because essentially it does talk about taking the lessons from de Grasse. So yeah, 7.6 second reload for 11.83 kilometre range, 500 damage, 600 AP damage and 7% fire chance. And that's looking pretty familiar. Now this doesn't have any equipment to improve it, so that the reload is the base 7.8. The main battery range is 10.84, which is exactly the same. The HE damage is slightly lower. Oops, sorry, disappeared. And the HE and the AP damage is slightly lower, just a shave. Same 7% fire chance, 15 degrees per second turret rotation rather than 16, but I suspect that the difference is going to be found exactly here. So let's go and have a look, and I bet you that this just makes everything line up. 7.5 second reload. 16.05 degrees per second traverse, so slightly lower damage output on de Grasse. Of course, the reason for that could be there. Actually, the main battery firing range for this is going to have increased slightly because of that. Yeah, 11.27. Right, what have I got with the Bayard? The Bayard actually has shorter range with historical camo. I know 11.83. I'm not really getting. So it has the Bayard does have a slightly larger range. Right, that's very confusing, isn't it? Anyway, for those that like the Charles Marten but want a faster firing ship able to light a lot of fires, this is probably a great place to go. Hope you found that useful. I have a couple of battles which I will upload in due course. I hope you enjoyed watching that, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.